So I turn 32 tomorrow, and I wanted to share some lessons and some wisdom that solidified for me under the heading of things I know to be true. These are things that I know for a Fendi fact are true to me. Number one, I do not, in fact, know what other people are thinking unless they tell me. Objectifying others and calling that empathy is emotional bypassing. It's a shortcut around doing the observational and relational work of going, hey, what's going on for you? And creating a space where connection can actually take place. I didn't realize that for much of my life, due to being hypervigilant and trauma that I experienced over time, I had really begun to think that the ways that I was anticipating needs, the ways that I was able to circumvent these types of conversations and the conflict that sometimes comes with them was actually not me being accurate about what other people's thoughts, emotions, and experiences were. The reality is my water intake, my food intake, where I am in the day, my mood, and a myriad of other things in my lived experience paint how I perceive and interpret other people, which means that it's not objective, which means that it's not always necessarily true. I realize that my world is at its smallest when I'm deciding for other people what they think, how they feel, and what their experiences are. And that my world is at its most expansive when I allow space for surprise, for curiosity, and for relationality. Number two, deprivation begets excess. Walk with me. I've found over the course of my 31 years on the planet that if I underdo somewhere, I overdo somewhere else. Let me tell you what I mean. I have overdrank, I have oversexed, I have overspent, I have overtalked, decades of money, other people's time and patience, and my own well-being. What really solidified for me over the last year is this need to be requited, that I need to get in touch with what my actual underlying needs are and let myself have that from a place of generosity. Otherwise, some eternally ravenous part of me will rise up and make up the difference. I have used the words, I deserve this, and ended up late on rent payments, in credit card debt, out of friendships, and losing relationships in my life, and with some of the worst hangovers you could ever imagine. The reality that's becoming super clear to me that is settled in an embodied way is that I am eternally worthy. And in being eternally worthy and deserving, it is my responsibility to get in touch with what I really want and need, not the superficial ways that I've been taught to meet those needs. I ask myself questions like, what would facilitate my joy today? Or what would I need to do, see, or feel to feel proud of myself today? Sometimes it's a silly little carbonated seltzer. Sometimes it's therapy or time spent with a journal reflecting on my behavior, my relationships, or my life in general. But whatever it is, I make sure to spend time in that moment calling in a sense of fullness, a sense of requitedness, and a sense of being deserving of meeting my own needs and a sort of a gratitude for being able to recognize them. It's been a revelation to be able to give to myself from a place of flowing generosity instead of recompense, to be offering myself the nourishment that I know that I need and deserve, to trust myself to know when it's enough, and to give myself grace for when I'm doing the other shit, because it does happen, and to try to stay as present as possible with the reality that that innate worth is not something that can be found externally. That innate felt sense of worthiness, of deserving, of value cannot be purchased, cannot be consumed, and cannot be coerced through people, relationships, jobs, or anything else. Number three, validation over verification. One of the hardest things for me to overcome in my life was this innate desire to fact check my experiences, which came from a fundamental distrust of myself. I did so much self-abandonment trying to play havoc, play puppet master with my own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and experiences. I was constantly asking myself questions, perseverating and overanalyzing. Well, how do you know that's true? How do you know that it happened that way? Are you sure? There were even moments where I needed like a 6-page internal dissertation on why not to take a second date with someone. Something that has felt and become incredibly true for me this year is that it is not my job to fact check my experiences. It's my job to arrive to them with curiosity, with compassion, with interest. And it's my job to honor myself wherever I may be at. It allows me to be present in the moment. Okay, Jamila, you're angry? We can figure out why later. What do we need to feel safe now? Oh, hey, you're feeling uncomfortable? What does that mean about what we need for today and tomorrow? How are we going to get through this together? And I know speaking in a royal we to yourself sounds a little bit strange, but taking on this collaborative approach with my wants, needs, desires, with my feelings and experiences has helped me so much in terms of engaging with my life and myself more somatically. It's also allowed me to sit with where I am without the need to make things different. which brings me to my next thing that I know is true. Control is the opposite of love. We do not seek to control things that we trust, and we do not love things we don't trust. We aren't loving in the most verb sense of the word when we are suspicious, when we are dominating, and when we are coercive. We cannot love the things that we fear. So one of the highest forms of love to me, besides consideration, is the degree to which I can allow something, someone, a situation to be what it is without it having to be different, to let it be, and then to make my decisions accordingly. And my last lesson of the year, fear is a form of acknowledgement. This is a weird one, so walk with me. Over the course of my life, I have had an unholy tendency of burying my head in the ground when it came to pretending I don't know things I already know. Whether it was a relationship, a situation at work, I would bend over backwards, Simone Biles, to get out of the way, to dip dodge the information, the truth that I already knew in my head. Something that I realized quite suddenly in the last year is that to turn my face away from something is to acknowledge that it's already there. When I hide or shield or build walls or abandon, I don't leave an empty space. If I turn away, it means that I'm aware enough to recognize that there's something worth turning away from in the first place, which means it's already there. Regardless of what's happening, my life will not fall apart. My world will not disintegrate by picking it up and holding it in my hands and examining it. I can let myself into the things that I'm afraid of. I can let myself into my shame or my fear or my yearning because it's already there. I'm already carrying it around. Driving to myself in those moments has been a revelation because it means that the hard stuff will always be hard, but I don't have to do it the hard way. Wait for my subterranean stuff down emotions and experiences and feelings and traumas to surface in some bombastic way that destroys a life or a relationship or my own well-being. I can stay near to myself and curious, even if I don't necessarily know what to do. And that feels a lot like freedom to me. Anyway, those are some lessons that came to me this year. If you're still here listening, this year has been one of the hardest and most amazing years of my life. You all have helped me navigate an MS diagnosis, a different country move, a breakup, a stroke. I don't think I would be here without all of you. And so I just want to say how grateful I am for this community, for this platform, and for the beautiful friendships and relationships that I've been able to make and cultivate through 31. I love you all so much. That's all. Bye.